3 years ago, I set out on a mission to become a full-time day trader. Newsflash. Actually, wait, I did it. I was able to become a full-time day trader 2 years ago after trading consistently for only 1 year. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I'm talking the good, the bad, the ugly, the things nobody tells you about, and the things you probably don't even know that you need to know. So here's the thing. I wasn't just about to walk away from my almost six-figure paying job in corporate America on a whim. It had to make sense, it had to be logical, so I had to make a plan. So I set 3 goals that I needed checked off before I left my corporate job. Number 1, I needed to build a 6-figure trading account. This was my first goal because I felt like my other 2 goals, once I passed having a 6-figure account, would be super easy. So that leads me into my second goal, which was to pay off $25,000 worth of debt. Trading is one of those things, the more money you have, the more money you make. So if I had a 6-figure account, it'd be a lot easier for me to pay off my $25,000 worth of debt from the profits that I make versus if I had a $5,000 account or a $7,000 account. Number 3 was to save $50,000, which was technically the equivalent of 8 months worth of expenses. This would give me the cushion so that when I do quit my job, I'm not forced to actually perform the minute that I quit my job. I can quit and have a little bit of time to figure out how it is to be a full-time day trader. So those were my non-negotiables. If those 3 things were not checked off, I was not quitting my job. I also put a time on it. I wanted to be out of there in a year. So I wanted those 3 things in less than a year. The first step for me on this journey was facing my money, and I'm telling y'all now, I did not want to do it. You know, you spend on your credit card here, you buy this, you buy that for the momentary gratification or the instant gratification, and you don't realize what you're doing to yourself financially until you look at your credit card statement or your credit card balance. So the first thing I had to do was take a hard look at what my finances look like. How much was I making? How much debt did I have? How much did I have in savings? What have I been spending on for the past couple of months? And really evaluate where I was financially. Being transparent, this part was probably one of the hardest parts of this journey. I didn't want to look. I remember opening up my bank statements and my credit card balance, and I was like, you're not the most responsible adult. You're not, and granted, I was 21 at the time, but it's like, you're not the most responsible adult. And I wasn't, but this was step 1 of me trying to be a financially literate adult. And so I looked at them. Did I like what I saw? Absolutely not. Instead of running from what I saw and feeling like my life is over because I've made a few mistakes, I made a project out of it. The way that my mind works, I need to make a project out of something for me to complete it. I made some spreadsheets and Google Sheets where I could input how much I wanted to save, and it would tell me, you need to put aside this much to save this much. And I also made one for budgeting. And I also made one for paying off my debt. This was really the foundation of me becoming a full-time trader, was getting my finances together, because yeah, at this point in time, I did not have the trading money coming in. But if I prepared myself for the trading money and I got the right financial system in place, it would be so much easier when I was working with more money. So I detailed everything. I set timelines on everything, meaning I want to pay off $1,500 on my debt by this time. I want to save X, Y, and Z by this time. I literally put everything in there just so that I could keep a detailed account and be able to hold myself accountable. Back then, I built my Google Sheets spreadsheets by hand. Now you have AI. You can literally sit down and tell AI what you're trying to do, pay off debt, build a savings, run a budget, or even evaluate your finances. You and the AI, which the 2 that I like are ChatGPT and GenSpark, can come up with a plan on how you want to do this. When you tell AI what you want to do, you don't have to do all the math stuff. It'll come up with a complete plan for you. All you have to do is execute the plan that it comes up with for you. I didn't have that luxury in 2022 because I didn't know about AI then, but if I did, I probably would have used it. I had been playing around with trading since college. And when I mean playing around, I invested in IML, I want to say in late 2018, early 2019, which was my freshman year of college. And that was my first dabble into trading. And so I knew about trading from my freshman year of college. I waited until 2022, May, when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, to consider taking trading seriously. Meaning I played around for 3 years before I even took trading remotely serious. I would make $200 here, $200 there, and go on about my business. But it was never consistent enough for me to say, oh, this is what I'm gonna do for a living. In 2022, I told myself I would stop playing. Because when I graduated with my bachelor's degree and I realized, oh, life is getting serious, you need to go get a job, I didn't want to. But the way my bank account was looking, I needed to. So when I started my job in 2022, July of 2022 to be exact, I told myself I would only be at this job for a year. So this is when I actually started taking trading seriously. I knew about it 3 years before, wasn't doing anything with it, but I saw the power of what trading could do, and I wanted the freedom to be able to do what I wanted to do. I built a routine around my current life. I knew my life wouldn't be like this forever, but it's just what was happening currently. So I would wake up at 3:30 a.m., trade from 4 to 7 a.m., go to work, come back home, study the charts, journal, practice anything that I feel like I was lacking on and could improve upon, or really evaluate the trades that I had took that morning to see what I could be better at. I literally journaled everything, the wins, the losses, how I felt, because that's a heavy one. Yes, journaling how your trade went is important, but also journal how you felt, because the emotional aspect of it is what's standing between most traders and profitability. Journal the emotions that you're currently having. Write about what possibly caused those emotions, because then that's going to help you to come back the next day and be like, oh, well, yesterday I got triggered by this, so let me not do that. Or maybe I'm risking too much based on how I felt yesterday, so I should cut back on my risk. But if you don't journal or have an idea of what's triggering you, how are you going to figure out what you should do to improve as a trader? So I literally wrote down everything. And slowly, piece by piece, things started coming together, and I got good at trading really quickly just because of the amount of time that I spent dedicated to it. I was still making mistakes, as all traders do. I've been full-time for 2 years, and I still make mistakes. So you're still gonna make mistakes. I still made mistakes, but I was open to the fact that I was learning and I'm still growing, but I'm getting better day by day. So in July of 2022, when I decided I was going to take this seriously, I put 10,000 US dollars in a trading account. I don't know, looking back on it, like, I was one confident young lady, because $10,000 is a lot to put in a trading account. But at this time, that was what I wanted to start with. That's how much I had available or at my disposal. And I wanted to grow a 6-figure account quick. So I was like, if I start with $200, I'm gonna be here forever. I was a little bit shaky about starting with 10,000 because it's like, that's a lot of money. You could lose all of that. But one thing I'm always going to do is bet on myself, y'all. And I surely did that. And by February of 2023, I had grown that account to 6 figures, meaning from July of 2022 to February of 2023, I was able to make $90,000 with my little $10,000 that I started with. If I could go back and do it, I probably wouldn't put $10,000 in an account. There weren't prop firms around in 2022, or if there were prop firms, I didn't know about them. But if I could go back and do it again, I probably would start with a prop firm. If you don't know what a prop firm is, it's just a company that will give you funding to trade with. So you take an evaluation, you prove to them that you can trade, and they give you money to trade with, and y'all split profit. Taking an evaluation or getting a prop firm account can cost anywhere from $50 to $200, $300 on the high end, but you could get $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 worth of funding. And that, in my opinion, is a lot less scary as compared to what I did, putting $10,000 in a personal account. So if I had known about that in 2022, I probably would have went that route instead. Matter of fact, one of my mentees that started learning from me in 2024, she started with prop firms because she didn't want to put a lot of money up front to start trading. And she was able to go full-time in 6 months. So what took me a whole year, she was able to do in 6 months. And it was a lot cheaper for her because instead of having to start with $10,000, she was able to get funding from the prop firms and then use that money to fund her personal account, which she would then able to use to be able to fund her going full-time. On top of the fact that she had me to learn from, and she learned from all the mistakes I made because I told her all of the mistakes I made and what she should and shouldn't do, which all of that combined allowed her to be able to quit her job in 6 months. So yes, if I were to repeat this over, fingers crossed, it would be cheaper and it would be quicker, but with the limited knowledge that I had at the time and the resources that I had at the time, that was what I did. Now, even though my job was temporary, I got every single benefit I could. I'm talking every benefit they offered me in that year that I was there, I took it. PTO, when I need a rest day to decompress, I took it. Health benefits, I went to every doctor, everyone. OBGYN, general practitioner, dentist, vision, because I can't see. I went to all of them. Max all of that out. The retirement match, the 401k, the Roth IRA, oh, give it to me. Absolutely. So even though I was only staying at that job for a year, I did not want to waste the benefits that came with me working for a corporate job. Because working for yourself, y'all, it's something. Because all that retirement match, healthcare, PTO, you got to give yourself. While you're at your job, or while I was at my job, I made sure I was maxing out all of the benefits that I have. You may not have the healthcare, but you may have the 401k and Roth IRA match. Use that. You may not have the retirement match, but you may have the PTO. Use that for when you need a mental health day. Literally, I used it all. I took it all. So even though I was planning my exit, I literally used it as a stepping stone for me being able to get what I wanted. One thing that kept me grounded and still keeps me grounded is weekly meetings with myself. And I'm talking sit down with yourself and be honest, because what good is it if you sit and meet with yourself and you sit there and you lie? Every Sunday, I would sit down with my Google Sheets and assess, where's my savings? How much debt do I have left? How was my budget for the week? That was a heavy one because I am just a girl. And if I see a cute handbag when I am window shopping, I am likely to get it. So me transitioning from working full-time to trading full-time required a whole lot of me not getting stuff so that I could prioritize my savings. Some Sundays I didn't even want to look. I knew what I did. I knew that I spent more than I should have, but I mean, I don't have anything to say. There's no buts. I honestly don't regret spending money. But it was important for me to hold myself accountable and to change those spending habits. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend it, especially being that I was in the process of trying to quit my job. The longer that I spent not actually doing the things that I was supposed to do and not prioritizing the goals that I have, the longer I would end up staying in the corporate job that honestly most days I cried about because I'm not built for corporate, y'all. I'm not. It's also super easy when you don't prioritize these weekly meetings with yourself or you're not super honest with yourself to just say I'll figure it out later. And that's a lot of time how your goals get put on the back burner is by not holding yourself accountable and not doing the things that you say you're gonna do. But it was really important for me in this stage of life to really prioritize. Yes, I may have made the mistake. Yes, I may not have followed my budget this week, but I do still need to look at it and I do still need to have this hard meeting with myself to make sure that next week I don't do the same thing. The only person that suffered when I didn't follow my goals was me. So it was really important for me to make sure that, yeah, I may not want to really go over what my credit card statement look like. And I may not really want to look at the amount of money that's in my bank account, but I need to. So I still do it. So really holding myself accountable and making sure I was prioritizing these weekly meetings and doing them every week, not only to evaluate my finances, but also to evaluate how I was doing trading wise for the week, whether I was performing good or I wasn't performing good, what things I felt like I needed to change, tweak, what I could do better, what I'm doing really good at. All of these things kind of helped me to become a better trader, but also a more financially literate adult. One thing I will say is that on my journey to becoming a full-time day trader, it was less about how I was performing as a trader and more about me becoming a financially literate adult. Being a full-time day trader requires a lot of discipline and a lot of financial literacy to be able to understand, yeah, I make a lot of money, but what do I do with it? If every time you make money, every trading day you make money, you go and spend it, you're never going to have enough money to cover your lifestyle. Coupled with the fact that there's no better feeling than knowing that regardless of what happens, you're going to be okay. So, if you aren't financially literate, if you haven't been checking your finances, if you've been avoiding them like the plague, it's probably time to sit down and whip open that bank statement and whip open that credit card statement and see what your finances currently look like. You can't make a plan about where you're going to go if you don't know where you are currently. So let me tell you how all of this played out. In July of 2022, I started my job, but I also funded my trading account with $10,000. By February of 2023, I had crossed six figures in my trading account. And by July of 2023, I was debt-free with my savings stacked, and I was able to quit my job. So I quit my job exactly 1 year after starting. And I can't attribute me being able to become a full-time day trader to nothing but God. The important thing is allowing him something to work with. Yes, I had this big goal. I had this big dream. I had this big thing that I wanted to do, but faith without works is dead. I wanted him to take me there, but I still had to put in the work to get there. I'm talking about waking up 3:30 a.m. most days out of the week to trade, going to work, performing my best, and being grateful for the job that God had gave me, making sure that I was assessing my finances and improving and studying and figuring out how to become a more financially literate adult, figuring out how to invest, not just trading, but investing, having an investment portfolio, having a brokerage account where I actually buy stocks. And not buying stocks for today, but buying them for the future, making sure that I do the work, file the LLC, make the savings account, find the CPA, doing all of these things. It was so crucial having God there, and he took me the extra way. I like to use this analogy because this is what helps me relate how faith without works is dead. Sometimes you just need $1,000. As an adult, most bills are $1,000. I'm sure most of you will agree. And sometimes you're in a pickle where you don't even know where that $1,000 is coming from. and you're like, God, I need you to bless me. God, I need you to bless me. God, I need you to help me find this $1,000. Well, how can he bless you? What avenues have you set? What work have you put in for him to be able to bless you? Are you currently at your job where you have been working consistently and being grateful for your job and putting in the work to where you could get a promotion and get that $1,000? Have you started that side hustle that he put in your spirit that you should have started, where he can send you a customer for that $1,000? Have you started learning how to trade where you are just putting it before his feet so that he can help you, so that he can send you a trade where you make $1,000? What work have you put in, or what avenues have you given him to give you that $1,000? So again, faith without works is dead. I'm telling you how I was able to do it, but I wasn't able to do it without him. These are just the steps that I took on the back end so that he could do the rest on the front end. Well, that's the end of this video. I would love to hear in the comment section some of the things that you're excited about on your trading journey, and I'll see y'all next week.